I played Augusta. I got lucky enough to play when I was 14. The story is pretty cool. It was the day before my final exams for high school. And my dad wakes me up at 6 a.m. He goes, "Wake up." And I go, "What?" He goes, "We're going to play Augusta." And I thought I was dreaming at this point.
You're in New York at the moment.
I'm in New York.
Yeah.
I literally have my 5 final exams for high school that day. He goes, "We're going to play Augusta." And I go, I thought I was dreaming. I go, I got my final. Say, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Get up, put your golf clothes on. We're going to play Augusta."
All right, this is going to be a fun show. We've got James Nicholas here in studio.
Yeah.
I think are you our first guest in the new studio?
In the new studio, he is. Oh, no.
I'm honored.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe not.
No, I think he is. We had some stuff before where it wasn't fully fleshed out.
Oh, you mean this new studio?
Yes.
Yes, you are the first.
All right.
So
I'm
it's
honored, boys.
It's a good
Yeah,
one
it's
to
good to
start
have you
with.
here,
And
man.
we've done some stuff on the course before, but this is the first time we get a chance to sit down and have a conversation. And what I really want to dive into here is your journey has been such an incredible thing to follow from social media, and we're getting like glimpses of it. But there's just so much to it, and there's so much to unpack for someone on this path that you're on, working your way through and into the PGA Tour. It's just so fascinating from the outside. So whether you're listening because you have your own aspirations one day to be on tour, or maybe you've got a talented kid who's working their way through it, or just like us, just the curiosity and maybe living a little bit vicariously, I think there's just so much we can learn. But let's just start with a quick introduction. So James, just tell us a little bit about yourself and your own journey with the game.
Yeah. Well, my name is James Nicholas, 26 years old, from Scarsdale, New York. I grew up in what I think is the golf mecca of the world, right in the Northeast. Westchester Country Club was my home growing up, and I was just spoiled growing up with such great teachers, such great facilities, such great courses, in that Met area, and in my opinion, the best junior golf association and golf association in the country, the Metropolitan Golf Association. So I think all the stars were aligning for me in my career early on as a kid. But again, I played every kind of sport growing up: hockey, football, lacrosse, basketball. I was on the swim and dive team, soccer, kind of you name it, and I played it. And that was due to my parents and my whole family. We wanted just to play everything and then figure it out later in life. And I was late to the golf game. I didn't play AJGAs. I didn't play these big junior events. That kind of wasn't in my DNA.
Right.
I was more of the hockey player every weekend, and skipping school, leaving on Thursdays, coming back on Sunday nights or Monday mornings to make class. But again, that was 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and my golf career kind of just evolved over time, and that's kind of how I got to where I am today.
So now, in hindsight, I wonder if you would have changed anything with that, because we see now like this two schools of thoughts. Like we see kids who are getting super specialized in a sport very early, and they're going all in. They're, let's say for your golf, versus multi-sport athlete, having kids involved in multiple sports and allowing them to develop as an athlete. Do you feel like, in your experience, one is better than the other?
In my experience, I believe that playing multiple sports is...
So you wouldn't have changed anything?
I wouldn't have changed anything. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have changed a thing.
Yeah, because development as an athlete, and you feel like a lot of those sports is transferable, some of the stuff you learned?
100%. I mean, you look at hockey players, they all make great golfers,
Sure.
right? I mean, every
Why
time...
is that?
I don't,
scratch my
it's
head.
got to be with the hips, right?
Yeah.
Hockey, I mean, slap shots and full golf swings are pretty similar movements. I think the power source is from your core, right? In hockey
Sure.
too, it's all correlated. So there's a lot of overlap there. My dad is a sports medicine doctor, orthopedic surgeon, and he's done countless studies on not the transition, but the similarities or benefits of playing multiple sports. And he always talks about the different muscle groups, right? If you just play tennis, you're only going to work on your lats or your shoulders or, what have you. But
Right.
if you play football, tennis, swim team, right, you're going to work on your legs and your upper body and your core. And that facilitates just an entire body that is ready to go and not limited in any capacity, right? You're not going to be limited in a certain muscle group because you only don't want movement your whole life.
I would argue, too, like a lot less injury prone.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to have more risks, right? If you play football and hockey and lacrosse and golf. But when you come to, I guess, picking your one sport, your body's going to be way more developed and way more prepared for what's to come.
Yeah, and I want to dive into in a minute the stuff that you continue to do, because you take that, I know, very seriously. And like I said, a lot of this is us from following you on social media and seeing some of that behind the scenes. But first, just tell us a little bit more up to date now where you're at right now in your career.
Yeah, so rewind a couple years. First year out of college, got my Korn Ferry Tour card. Played 3 seasons out there in the Korn Ferry Tour. Then this past year, I missed Q school, so it was my first year without Korn Ferry Tour status. And that was tough for me. It was like, okay, what do I do now? I got to go play a bunch of Monday qualifiers. I'm gonna have to be traveling all over on Saturday mornings. Get there, play a practice round, and then just for a chance to play in the tournament. And I felt like I got really, really good the past 3 months. I got a lot better in my swing. I was working with Jim McLean and John McLean down in Florida. So a little bit of a different, thought process from working with Gary Weir, my longtime coach, and just needed a little bit different idea of what the golf swing looked like for me. And that kind of clicked the last couple months. And I Monday qualified into 2 of the last 3 Korn Ferry Tour events. Got a sponsors invite into New Jersey and played really well. And that actually got me into playoffs. So it was funny. The first year as a non-member, I actually made it into playoffs for the Korn Ferry Tour.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting that.
What's that like? You don't expect to be in there. We just get a phone call?
Yeah, so I told my girlfriend, I was like, hey, I'll see you on Tuesday, right? And this was when I was going out to that first Monday qualifier that I made it through. I was like, I'll see you on Tuesday. Let's have dinner. And and that's not the right mindset to have. Yeah. But again, it's just I missed so many times prior that I was like, okay, I'll be back on Tuesday. Monday qualified in. I shot 10 under to get through and got through, made the cut, played okay. Then I went to the next week at Pinnacle Bank. Monday qualified again, didn't make the cut, and I'm like sitting there like, okay, I'm not going to make playoffs. Then I got a sponsors invite into Magnet, which is the New Jersey event.
Yeah.
Played really, really well, and that got me just enough points to get into the first playoff event, and I played it, decently in that first playoff event to
I want to come back to that first playoff event in a second because there's an interesting story behind that, but rewind the week before, the New Jersey event, Matitaconk. What's your thoughts on that course? We got to play it for our series.
It was interesting. This kind of goes along with my whole story, my whole career as a golfer. But I went to Yale to play football. I was recruited to play hockey as well and golf. And I ended up getting onto the team for golf my freshman year. And I didn't play any of the fall events because that was football season. And the spring came along, and I qualified for that first event, qualified for a second event, qualified for our third event. So I played every event that I was eligible to play in. And then our Ivy League championship came around, and it was at Matitaconk. And I wasn't selected for the team. I just had a bad week the week prior and didn't earn my way onto the team. But I wanted to go travel with the team. And I told my coach, I was like, yeah, when's the event? Like, when are we traveling? When are we going? He goes, well, I can't really take you. It's against Ivy League guidelines, but you're welcome to drive down. So I got in my car and I drove down. And it ended up, he told me it was the first time any of his players had traveled to an event not being in the lineup. But I thought that was kind of normal. And again, this goes back to playing multiple sports. I learned... to be a team player, to go and support your teammates and support your guys, right, and be there for them. So I was down there the whole week, and I watched my team shoot a lot at Matitaconk. It was playing super tough. I think it was 45 degrees, blowing sideways. Those greens are ridiculously fast. So my last memory of Matitaconk was, okay, everybody just shot in the 80s. I remember my captain when I was a junior, Will Bernstein, he actually shot 65 or 66 in the final round. So I knew it could be done. He dominated that course. So that was a little bit of inspiration for me going to that week. But went to Matitaconk, on a sponsor's invite. You have all this pressure on you that, you didn't earn your way there. You got given a spot. But for me, it's, I had to believe that I belonged there, right? Because I played the past 3 years, belonged the past 3 seasons. And I went there with the mindset, I'm going to go try to win, right? And had a decent first round, and then the second round came along, and I had it going. I was 3 under through, I think it was 13 holes, and then made a really bad double bogey coming down the stretch, made another bogey, and I was sitting on the cut line, and that's when the pressure really starts to hit you, right? And I was able to finish and make the cut, make the weekend, and had an okay Saturday, but got it going on Sunday.
Yeah, you dialed it up Sunday.
Yeah, played really, really well. I think I shot 6 under with a double bogey, so that moved me into a tie for, I think 13th. We can fact check that, but I believe I finished 13th, and that got me just enough points to sneak into that first playoff.
Because in an interview, you said it was a top 10 or you just go home.
Yeah, and I had that
chance.
I had 8 under in my mind, right, going into that final round. I was like, I need to shoot 8 under, or I'm going home. Yeah, right? And everybody knew that. My family was out there watching. My friends came out and watched, and I was, walking. If I was to walk through that round, it's all a blur. Right? I don't remember. I think I parred 1, and then I don't know what happened after that. Right. I think I made a bomb on 2. I think I parred 3, birdie 4. But again, I just kind of got into a rhythm and started making birdie after birdie, and got to hole see, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I was like, okay, let's hit driver. I've been hitting iron off that tee every single hole or prior in the week, and I hit driver into the trees, had a chip out, but I chipped out in the fescue, then I hit it long over the green and ended up making like an 8-footer for double.
Yeah.
But then bounced back with a birdie in the next, then made a good par, then another birdie. So one of those rounds where I had it going, and if I had made one better swing on that hole 13, that would have been a really good round, but it ended up working out.
Yeah. So you're hearing it here. Even the best golfers struggle. Okay.
A lot.
They do.
A lot.
And it makes me wonder, like, how much truly does your strategy and approach change in the moment? Like, are you, of course, like after the round, you see the scores and you see what you need to do the next day. But even when you're out there, are you aware of what the field's doing, and does it cause you to change your approach in any way?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's actually a story within itself. My first year on the Korn Ferry Tour, I had conditional status. So again, I was going to events hoping to get into the next week's event. Mm-hmm. And that changed my whole mindset. I was just trying to make the cut. Because if you made the cut, you got points, you reshuffled up. And that is a horrible way to play golf, right? You need to play to win. Like Tiger, he wasn't worried about finishing 25th. He was just trying to win. Mm-hmm. And I'm not comparing myself to him in any regard, because obviously he's the best of all time, and I'm just trying to.
But we can learn from his mindset.
Mm-hmm. But you can learn from his mindset, and that is something that I've learned over the years, is that you got to go into events, trying to win.
Sure.
I remember last year at Maine, I was there and I was playing the worst golf of my life. I was not in a good spot, but again, they asked me to interview, why, like, what are your goals for this week? I said, I'm here to win. I'm here to, try to become the best player in the world. And I was so far from it at that point. But again, you got to try to talk into existence. And, a lot of people chirp me. They're like, oh, you missed the cut and you were saying you wanted to win. I'm like, yeah, I did. And that's kind of the mindset you have to have.
Yeah. And your mindset's something that's always kind of fascinating, the way that you're able to stay positive in such a tough sport.
Yeah.
I think one thing I've never forgot to this day is something you taught me on the golf course. Like when you hit a bad shot, you said, just say good.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to learn from the next shots. Did you always have that mindset? Or did you learn it somewhere along the way?
No, I mean, you're not born with that, right? You kind of learn it from your coaches. And I've been fortunate to have some of the best coaches in my eyes in the world, right? My coach, Luigi Olento, he was my hockey coach from age 8 to age 15, and I've learned so much from him. And his biggest thing was hard work beats talent. Talent doesn't work hard, and he would just drill that into our minds, right? All these guys out here might have more talent than I do, but again, I'm going to outwork them, and I'm going to get to that point where, okay, my talent is now higher than theirs, or my talent level is higher than theirs. So there's a lot of things that you can learn. And I learned good from Brian Cain. It's a Jocko quote, and he, I guess Jocko, you can watch on YouTube the video of him saying good, and like, didn't get the job you wanted. Good. You didn't get that promotion. Good. Didn't, have the results you wanted. Good. Mm-hmm. Because you can learn. And if everything was going the right way, right, you're not going to learn, you're not going to grow. So in my eyes, you hit a shot into the woods. Good. I'm going to work on my punch out game, and I'm going to, make a par from nowhere, which I feel like is going to actually boost my confidence more than just hitting it down the middle, hitting it 20 feet and two putting. So there's always going to be good. Mm-hmm. And the story of the Chinese farmer is actually a story that I've listened to recently. And again, the story, I'm going to mess it up, but it goes somewhat like this, right? This farmer and the son are out, on a farm, and they have a horse. The next day they wake up, the horse runs away. Mm-hmm. The son's like, dang, our horse ran away. What are we going to do now? The father goes, it's okay. I don't know if it's good news or bad news yet. We'll just wait and see. The next day the horse returns, and it brought 3 horses with it. Again, the son's like, oh my God, now we have 4 horses. The father's like, well, we'll see. I don't know if it's good news or bad news. The next day, the son's out there training the horses, and he falls off the horse's back and breaks his back. Again, the townspeople come, they condole the father, and the father goes, well, we'll see. I don't know if this is good news or bad news yet. We'll just kind of wait and see. The next day, the country goes to war. The drill sergeant comes to recruit all the guys under 25, and the father says, well, my son can't go. He just broke his back. So he was lucky in that regard not to go to war. So again, it's just a story that you don't know what's good and what's bad until, you never really know. So getting, down in that moment doesn't do you any good.
Sure. Yeah.
Just stay positive, keep putting your best foot forward, and do the best you can.
And I think that it's a lot for us to learn from, coming from somebody like you, who you're playing for your career, you're playing for the next event, and you're able to keep that mindset. We're out there to have some fun. You know, we play golf recreationally, but the truth is, it's taken me a long time to learn this, but nothing really good comes from hanging your head. It seems to only get worse. So I thought that was a fantastic takeaway. You mentioned earlier too, like some of the best golfers and what they do and the mindsets. It makes me wonder, what is it then that separates? What is that next gear? When we're the guys we're seeing on the PGA Tour on Sunday, there's just so many incredible golfers aspiring to that level. What in your mind is it that separates those guys that they get to that spot? Because I feel like there's a lot of guys you've never heard their names before, but they could compete out there on tour as well.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question because people always say it's the mental game, right? And then there's always other guys say the mental game doesn't mean anything. It's just about your physical talent. Mm-hmm. I think it's a little bit of both, but I also think it's about playing well at the right time. Mm-hmm. I know so many players that are good enough to be on the Korn Ferry Tour, good enough to be on the PGA Tour, but didn't play well at Q school, so didn't have that chance that year, right? And that's 1 week out of the year, right? If you have a bad week, you're done for the year. You can Monday qualify in, but again, we know Monday qualifying is tough. I mean, you got to shoot. I shot 11 under, 10 under, and 8 under in the 3 times I've Monday qualified, and that doesn't happen every day. Those are your best of best days.
Sure.
And that doesn't happen, sometimes it happens on Tuesdays, and that doesn't matter, right? Or in Sunday practice rounds. So you got to time it up, and you see the guys like Max Homa almost lost his Korn Ferry Tour card and now has won 5+ times on the PGA Tour. Right. One of the best players on the PGA Tour right now. So
is it stories like him that just keep you going?
Well, I mean, Cameron Young, right? He's a New York native. He's a guy I grew up with, and Cameron had no status, and I had status. So my first year out of college, I was like, how does Cameron not have status? He is the best player I've ever played with, and I have status. How does that work, right? How does that work? He just didn't have a good week. But he Monday qualified, won the event, won the next event, and got on the PGA Tour, finished second in the British Open. And he's like, okay, he's doing okay. So in the end, it's going to work out. It's just a matter of time. You don't know when it's going to happen. Some guys, it's that first week. Some guys, it's 10 years down the road. I've talked to Jim Herman. I've talked to Ken Duke. Yeah. Some guys who've just, I guess, peaked later on in their careers, but again, have had fantastic careers in their own right. And they just say, you got to keep going, and you got to keep getting better every day.
Because it doesn't just, if you won one Korn Ferry Tour event, that wouldn't change your life, would it?
No. Well, look at Akshay. Last year, Akshay won the first Korn Ferry event of the year, didn't get his PGA Tour card. But obviously, again, he's so talented that he got it this year.
The grind continued,
and he won on the PGA Tour. Yeah. Sahith Theegala. I played with Sahith as a special temporary member out, and I would never forget it, Huntsville, Alabama. Yeah. First round, it was some of the most impressive golf I've ever watched. He was 8 under par going to the last hole, hooks it into the woods, makes, I think, a double or a triple. And I was like, oh my God, he's human. Yeah, right? He was playing unbelievable golf, just won the PGA Tour. Right? Yeah. One of the nicest guys in the world. Yeah, deserves it, is uber talented, but again, it just takes people different time frames.
Sure.
So a lot of it is just staying your foot on the pedal, staying committed to it, and then and that timing and everything lines up. I mean, we even saw it on the PGA Tour, guys like Brian Harmon and stuff like that this year. Like when just at the right time, last thing clicks, and all of a sudden you go on this
Wyndham
run.
Clark. Yeah.
Wyndham Clark again. Awesome golfer. Hits it unbelievably well, and was playing that power fade all week and just played great. The golf course fit his game. His game was in a great spot, putted great. You saw, everybody's trying to buy his putter now. So it's like everything kind of clicked for him in that week, and that's what happens.
It's amazing. 1 year, and then look, Ryder Cup, almost $10 million of winnings.
Yeah.
1 week.
One of our favorite stories is another local guy, Rob Labritz.
Yeah, we were just talking about Rob.
Rob's the man.
Yeah, years and years and years of that grind, and now he's on the PGA Tour Champions and making his way. So for you then, what do you have in your mind going forward career-wise? Is there a timeline that you have set forth for yourself, or are you just saying, I'm just going to keep grinding at my best and just see how it plays out? Or how much of that is planned versus reaction?
Yeah, I think when I first turned pro, all my teammates at college especially are asking me, how long are you going to give it? And you have an idea, right? You're like, I'm going to give it X amount of years. Yeah. But I think it's X amount of years if you're not getting better.
Right.
So right now, I don't have any sort of timeline. I'm living in the moment. I think when you put that sort of pressure on yourself, you're never going to play good golf.
It's almost like saying playing just to make the cut.
It is 100% the exact same thing. Right. Because you're limiting yourself to a certain ability or a certain time. You're not going to get to be the best player in the world in 6 months if that's what you're giving yourself. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. But if you get 1% better like every single day, for 5 years, you're going to get really good.
Yeah.
And then, maybe in 5 years, you're going to be the best player in the world. But again, that's not a guarantee. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of luck, and a lot of right bounces to get there.
And what's so crazy, when you do get your tour card, it doesn't end. You got to grind to be competitive, to play well, to win, and to keep it going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, golf, tough.
What I'm hearing is that you also have to love the grind.
You have to love it.
You gotta love it.
You gotta love it. You know, you're not getting given a 10-year, $500 million deal.
Right.
You're getting if you get your tour card, you're on the PGA Tour. You have a $0 salary. Go make it happen.
So speaking of grind, tell us your upcoming schedule.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, we were talking about it briefly before the show started, but on Sunday I fly to Ireland. I'm going to play there for a week to prepare for the DP World Q School in France. So I fly from Ireland to France. Then from France, I go to Alabama to Spain, Spain to Savannah, Georgia back to Spain, and then Spain to Florida. So, obviously that's TBD with how I play, but
of course,
that's my plans.
You get to pick the spots?
I picked them already, yeah, exactly.
You're allowed to pick where you want to play.
You have to sign up for Q School, and again, you pick the course you like, the weather you like, the location.
Why Alabama?
You know what? It was my eighth pick, my first year as a pro, and since I wasn't exempt into first stage of Q School, I had to play pre-qualifying as my first year since I wasn't a top amateur. I didn't get my first choice, so I got Alabama, made it through there, and I've gone back ever since. So
you like it, yeah?
I like it there.
Yeah.
And how much does that travel schedule, that grueling travel, weigh on you from a competitive standpoint? Like, what do you do to mitigate some of that?
Yeah, that is the biggest thing for me, and how I feel like I can separate myself from the rest of the pack. I travel with my Normatec boots, which are compression, things you slide on your legs and they fill up with air. They drain all the lactic acid out of your legs. I drink Athlete every single day, which is got turmeric, curcumin, a bunch of B vitamins, and that helps with my inflammation. My girlfriend's a health coach, so she puts me on a really strict diet and nutrition regimen. I work out with Don Saladino. He's my trainer. Again, I'm just putting all these pieces. It's like a puzzle. I'm putting all these pieces together to try to create this big picture that's going to help me be my best self.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
All right, guys, we will get you right back to our interview with James Nicklaus in just a second, but we want to pause for a moment to say thank you to this week's sponsor. And starting that off with Titleist, guys, we're excited to share with you some exclusive opportunities from Titleist, but really to be a part of them, you have to join Team Titleist. And Team Titleist gives you access to opportunities like prototype testing, special events, limited edition gear from Titleist. There's just so much more. So if you've seen some of this floating around social media and feeling a little bit of FOMO, now you know it's time. Join Team Titleist. You can sign up and join Team Titleist at Titleist.com/Team Titleist. That's one word, Team Titleist. Join us on Team Titleist. Lots of great special opportunities you are not going to want to miss.
Huge thanks to FootJoy. I've been talking about MyJoys for a while because it's one of the coolest things out there. It gives you the opportunity to design your own golf shoe. I mean, you could base it off who you are, what's unique about you. And what's interesting is my mom's turning 70 this weekend, so we're going away for her birthday. She doesn't listen to the show, so I can say this. I'm not ruining anything. She's getting into golf. She's been into golf for a while. I was like, hey, why not? My wife, my daughters, we built her custom MyJoys. Nice. All her favorite little things on, like her color patterns. And we did this pink and blue plaid, like top. We got the premieres, the traditions, which are so cool.
She's going to love it.
She's going to love it. And then, like the little decals on the side, one was a margarita. And on the other side, because that's her favorite drink, on the other side it says mom with a heart. So she's going to absolutely love it. It's unique. It's for her. It's special. And this is something you could do. Do it for yourself. Do it for a friend. Do it for a loved one. It's a great gift. Go to FootJoy. Click on the MyJoys and just build. Even if you don't go all the way through and buy it, I mean, you probably will when you're done. But even if you don't, just build. Have fun with it. It is pretty cool. Check it out. FootJoy, MyJoys. Go right to the website. Have some fun. All right, and also Rapsodo. We've been talking about Rapsodo for a long time now. Way back with the MLM1. This year is the year that they launched the MLM2 Pro. We've been having a ton of fun. It gives you loads of metrics: distance, ball speed, club speed, and launch angle. All the basics that a mobile launch monitor will give you. But what I love most about this thing is, actually there's a lot of things, because the simulator. You can have a simulator anywhere in your house, in your garage with this device.
Yeah.
It's just, they've made it easy for you to play golf indoors. But one of the main features, I love this shot dispersion feature. It's like a visual overlay of every shot you hit on the range. So I bring this thing to the range. I love it. It's color coded with each club, pinpointed for distance and accuracy, so you can optimize things like club gapping, dialing in your wedges, fine-tuning your driver, basically just finding out all the holes in your game. And all you're doing is just bringing this little device that takes about 3 seconds to set up. So indoors, outdoors, it's portable. Like I said, build your own simulator. It's got everything. Go check out the Rapsodo MLM2 Pro and let us know what you think.
And look, it's no secret everyone's trying to pick up more club head speed. You know, distance, it's really never been more important in the game of golf. And it's why we've teamed up with the best speed training aid on the market, Ripstick. Ripstick really is the ultimate training aid. It's got 8 different weight combinations all in one stick. So why does that matter? Well, listen, it allows you to very easily and conveniently switch between underload and overload training. So what that is basically is a fancy way of saying swinging less weight and swinging more weight. It's what really boils down to training for speed, but this makes it so easy. And to make it even easier, Ripstick has a free app. It's available for Android and iOS, so both Android and iOS users can really dive into this system. And the app walks you through it step by step. It's a step-by-step guide. It also holds you accountable to your speed training journey, and it tracks your progress along the way. It really becomes like your coach, and it takes away any excuse. So if you've been on the fence about trying speed training, this is really going to be for you. And recently, I started my own journey with Ripstick training. We're shocked at just how little time it really takes. You know, all you have to commit to 3 times per week, 15-minute sessions. How easy is that? And what's really cool right now, with every purchase, you have Dr. Luc Benoit. He's the founder of the company. He provides a free swing analysis. It's a $90 value. It really is. Yeah. So that you have that to jump you off. You've got, like I said, the training itself is super simple to use, and you've got the app to walk you through everything. Like I said, no excuses. And the whole idea behind this is not only to hit the ball further, but to hit it straighter as well. So get started. Use our code GOLFICITY for 20% off site-wide, and you can start hitting some bombs today. Yeah, and the travel too allows you to kind of dip a little bit into your other passion. You know, you're a lot more than just a golfer.
Yeah.
You know, because we see people like you in that career, and like we see what you do, and we just define you as that. But tell us a little bit about the other side, the passion project you have, a little bit of dipping into your own content creation.
Yeah, I mean, that it gives me chills every time I talk about the story. But again, I was 12 years old, and my dad's an orthopedic surgeon. One of his partners is a hand surgeon. Dr. Lee bought me an action camera for Christmas. We always did Christmas together, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm going to bring it on vacation. My family were lucky enough to go on vacation every year, one cool place a year, and I brought it to Antigua, and I was like, I'm going to film everything we do, whether it's, you know, jumping into the water, diving in the water, seeing a turtle, whatever it is, I want to bring it. So I filmed everything and made a video, and I look back at that video, and I'm like, wow, this was just a kid with
You were 12?
I was 12.
Okay.
I didn't start making the videos until I was 14, but I had the camera when I was 12. And I was like, I'm going to film a bunch of stuff, and I throw it on iMovie. Made this video, I think it was 2012. So I was 15 then when I made the video. I can look up the date. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was just this raw video of me in Antigua with this. I taped the action camera to a stick, literally to a stick, because they didn't have GoPros or they didn't have anything. So I taped it to a stick. It was like, it was my lacrosse ball. Took the head off my lacrosse stick.
There you go.
Taped it to it, and just walked around like this the whole time.
First selfie stick, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, actually, yeah. It was great. I would jump in the water with it like this. It was so much fun. And after that, I posted on YouTube, and a company reached out, goes, hey, we want to send you a bunch of hats to wear in your next video. And I was like, okay.
This is cool.
Yeah, this is great. Like, what else can I do with this? And then I made the next video with their hats on. And then I did another one in Iceland, and it got 1 million views. And I remember I uploaded it while my family was in the airport in Iceland. And it just took off and had 500,000 views in the first couple of days. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Yeah.
That was in 2016, I believe. And again, it just formed this passion of mine for photography and film and travel. And I have my travel Instagram, but I don't post a lot on it right now because I'm focused on golf. But I just found in the attic a Nikon F1, and it was made in 1960. I was doing all the research last night. I bought a 35 millimeter film for it. Bought batteries for I don't even know what it's called, but it's basically an exposure meter that goes on the lens. It's a full manual camera, and I'm so stoked to use it. It's my grandfather's.
That's
and
cool.
I'm gonna get into the film and in that sense now. So
Yeah, that's
it's just
wild.
really cool for me to go on the road. Like
Yeah.
you said, I'm going to go to France. I'm going to bring it with me. I'm going to take a bunch of cool pictures and just get my mind to be creative and get out of the golf world and escape for that for a little bit and just, spark my creativity.
So you got to be like a kid in a candy shop when you're on like these Grayson shoots with like
yeah.
all that going on with golf and photography and camera.
That's how I started in the golf world, right? Grayson, my buddy Christian Cavalier emailed Grayson, said, "Hey, I'm a junior golfer. I want to, wear your stuff. Is there any way I can get a discount?" Grayson responded saying, "Hey, why don't you come in the office?" And again, like an office like this, it was in Hallworth, New York, small little space, but again, super cool. They had pictures all over the walls, and Christian went in there and then got a 10% discount. Texted me, goes, "Hey, you got to do this. Come in and get your 10% discount." I went in there and I was like, "Hey, I also do, film and photography. Can we come on your next shoot with you guys and do it? And we'll see how we goes." And the owner, Charlie Schaefer, who's now, big time, Grayson's grown into a huge company, but he said, "Yeah, of course, we want to see what you guys can do."
Yeah.
We went on the first shoot and killed it, and the rest was history. So
that's awesome.
Now we go on all the Grayson photo shoots, and it's a lot of fun.
That's so cool. I mean, listen, what I'm hearing is that the takeaway is to really live and do what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And then the success of it will follow. And the cool thing is that you've got a scenario here where you're able to kind of scratch both of those itches, being out there playing golf, but also it's one could say that the travel schedule is grueling and it's a grind, but in the same token, it's creating opportunities to do the other things that you love.
Yep, 100%. I mean, and again, the good comes back to that. When my flight's canceled, it's really hard to say good because it pisses me off. Every flight I've been on has been canceled, delayed. It's a mess. But again, I complain, but then I try to take it back to, okay, good. I am privileged just to be here and have the opportunity to travel to events and do what I'm doing and live the dream. So it's all perspective. And if I wasn't doing it, somebody else would love to take my spot. So, okay, I know it's going to be annoying canceling and having to take a connection flight now and whatever it might be, but perspective and just checking back in to your reality and knowing that you're privileged to be here. So
for sure. And listen, and speaking of that, I want to close with one last story because I think you're the only guy I've seen this happen to twice.
Oh, yeah.
Last time we were together, we did a video and you tell the story about you getting into an event last minute, having to hop on the plane and running to the first tee. When I saw it happen again, I thought that they were just posting the video again.
Yeah.
I'm like,
oh my God.
They're getting more legs out of this video.
First alternate life like?
Right. So for anybody who's missing the story that I'm telling you, tell us the story about and what it's like just in general to have to be at the ready.
Yeah.
But essentially, you found out last minute as an alternate, you're getting into an event, and we're talking about literally sprinting to the tee. What happened there?
It wasn't last minute. It was last second, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about this most recent story, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, again, I played.
I love that it happened twice.
I played Matidaconk, and I finished 13th or 16th or whatever I finished, and I knew I needed a top 10. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to get into the first playoff event. Let's sign up for the Met Open, which is a great event in the Northeast. It was at Arcola. Of course, I've won twice at, so of course I was really excited to play.
Sure.
And again, thought nothing of it. Went to Arcola. I played in the Pro-Am on Monday, and I was fourth alternate for the Korn Ferry playoff event. I won the Pro-Am at Arcola, shot 7 under. It was great. I was like, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk. We're going to play great at the Met Open. And then during that Pro-Am, I got a call saying, hey, you're now second alternate. So I was like, why are people withdrawing?
Right.
What's going on?
Playoffs, yeah.
It's playoffs. So again, I go to sleep. I'm like, okay, I'm second alternate. If I get a call that I'm first, I have to go out there because first alternate, you got to be on site. I'm playing the round. I'm playing horribly. Like I'm thinking on my mind, I'm like, okay, I might need to fly to Boise, Idaho tomorrow. Again, this is, what am I doing? So my mind was not on golf at all. I ended up shooting, I think 7 over at Arcola. It was not a good day. I was kind of bummed, 14 shots worse than the day before. And
at this point, it's Tuesday.
And this is Tuesday, yeah.
Okay.
So, again, the tournament starts on Thursday, the playoff event. So, I'm still second alternate. I turn my phone on after the round. 5 missed calls from the tour. I'm first alternate. So, I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, my gosh. Like, I go up to, the MGA guys. I go, hey, I need to withdraw. I got to go to Boise, Idaho. There's a chance I get into the Korn Ferry Tour playoff event. And I felt really bad because I had signed up for the event. I committed to playing. Yeah. But again, they were like, you got to be there. We understand.
Would the decision have changed if day 2 was great?
If it would have been day 1.
I'm sorry, day 1.
Of the tournament round?
Yeah.
No.
No.
It's,
okay.
Even if I was leading by 8, I need to get to the.
This is where you need to be.
This is my career,
Right. Yep.
right?
Yeah.
This can get me to the PGA Tour.
Sure.
You know, when winning the Met Open is a dream of mine, but it wouldn't have gotten me the next step closer to my PGA Tour dream. So, whatever. I get home Tuesday night. I'm looking at flights, and I'm like, oh my God, Boise, Idaho. There's no direct flights. This is
Right.
the most impossible place to get to. So I take a flight Wednesday morning. That flight's delayed 2 hours. I end up on the plane getting my connecting flight changed. So I was supposed to go from New York to Minnesota, Minnesota to Boise. But instead, I went New York to Minnesota. Then the flight goes from Minnesota to Seattle, then Seattle overnight to Boise Thursday morning. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm not going to get there in time. But I end up landing in Minnesota, sprint to the gate, and there was a delay on that connecting flight. So I end up getting on that flight to get to Boise on time.
Okay.
Got to Boise on Wednesday, checked into the rules official. They go, hey, you're still first alternate. You know, everybody's
Okay,
here.
so now you're in town on Wednesday.
I'm in town.
Okay.
They go, everybody's here on site. Nobody's hurt. Nobody's sick. It's not looking good, but, you know, we'll let you know. They said, text me where you are tomorrow, just so we know where you are in case something happens.
Yeah.
Thursday morning, I wake up, crack of dawn. Got to be there for the first tee time and be prepared. So 7:30, and, you know, I see Curtis Luck in the range. And I'm like, you know, good luck, Curtis. I see all my buddies. Good luck. And then I go to the putting green, just putting. And then, you know, one of the rules officials comes over to me and goes, hey, we have a situation. And I go, what's going on? You know, he goes, Curtis Luck is 3 minutes late to his tee time, 2 more minutes and is disqualified, and you're in.
But you saw him, right?
And I go, Curtis is on the range. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Yeah,
He goes,
yeah.
oh, we haven't been able to find him. We'll go get him. So I go to the range and they find Curtis. They tell Curtis, you've got 1 minute and 30 seconds to get to the tee, otherwise you're disqualified. The tee is on the other side of the course over a road.
What?
So Curtis grabs his driver, grabs the ball, grabs the tee, starts running. I get in the car with the rules official because he goes, we got to get you over the tee in case he's late. I start
Silly question, but he's not allowed to take the cart?
I don't know what was going on.
Okay.
At this
So he's
point,
chaos,
running
just
at this
chaos, right?
because he was on the range, I was on the putting green. So the cart was by the putting green. So I
Okay.
was in the cart. He was running around. I think there was a cart for him, but I don't really know
Right.
what the story
He just heard the news and took off.
took off.
Yeah.
So I get to the road in the cart. He's running across the road, and then over the walkie-talkie, they go 10, 9,
No way.
8, and I'm sitting there like, what is going on?
And he's a friend of yours.
He's a friend of mine. I mean, you know, you don't ever wish that upon
course.
any of your competitors. It's like
course.
that to me is my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, okay, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Curtis, you know, ends up getting to the tee 2 seconds or 3 seconds after the countdown ended. So,
That's a heartbreak.
you know, I see one of the rules officials. They go, you know, James, it's your tee. And I'm standing there. I'm like, so bummed for Curtis because
Yeah.
obviously it's a playoff event, and you know this means this is what you prepare the whole week for.
Right.
But then I'm now sitting there like, okay, it's not my fault, right?
Yeah, right.
So I felt bad, but it wasn't my fault. I didn't do it, you know. But you got to go tee off now.
Yeah.
So I'm like scrambling. I need to play practice round. I just pull a forehand out, hit it 210 down the right side in the right rough, and I'm like, okay, I got 235 and out of the screen. That was not the club.
Yeah.
Make a bogey, and then we're off and we're playing. And again, it didn't hit me until after the round where I'm like, wow, I'm actually in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I got a chance to
Right.
make a run here. And, you know, I needed to finish, I think, top 26 to make it into the next playoff week event. And I birdied the last 3 to finish 35th.
Yeah.
So one shot better, and I would have been into the next playoff event. But again, that's golf.
That's golf. Wow.
And
Yeah,
another
okay.
story. And again, I don't want to be in these situations.
Of course.
Right.
Who does,
where I'm
right?
first alternate getting to the tee, but it just seemed to happen, and hopefully I can just play a little bit better this year to make my schedule a little bit more set.
Right. But like you said before, it all comes down to making the, you know, putting the things in line that you need to do to, when those situations arise, be there, get there, and then when your game lines up and you play, it's it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like, kind of, as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking Netflix needs a series on the Korn Ferry tour.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
Full Swing is great and all, but these are the stories I
wanna
want
see
to
the
hear.
I think
struggles.
these are more entertaining.
And the pursuit.
Right?
Yeah, the pursuit.
Honestly, the guys out there who are not making the big bucks, who are grinding, who are booking their own flights, running all over the world. Like, I want the cameras on you guys. Like,
Yeah.
this is
We're
the
going to
stuff that
start
I
it now,
want to see.
Frank.
We're
Road,
gonna
road to PGA Tour.
Let's go.
tell your
Let's
wife
do
you're
it.
going to be in the airports for the next.
We'll be in the airport for the next
3
30
months.
Travel
following
38
it's
James.
weeks
not
in a
gonna
row.
be fun, that's for sure.
Hey, before we do let you go, I got to ask you, you just played Pine Valley
Yeah.
the other day, our gem. Quickly tell us. I know you've been there before, but what's your thoughts?
Best course in the world.
Yeah.
That's why it's number 1. PV. You guys, I know you guys have a series going on in the best course in New Jersey, so I'm stoked to see what you guys think. I mean, that course is just so special. The bunkering is incredible.
Yeah.
The design, thought. I mean, there's thought process in every single twist and turn and bunker place in that property, and it's just a special place.
And you just take your camera out like you don't care.
I took a few pictures. My members to take some pictures, so I took some videos. Took some
Good.
pictures.
It's inspiring to me to take some pictures.
I mean, it's a beautiful piece of property. It's a special place, so I was just honored to get a chance to play there again.
I love it.
Would you say? I mean, it's a tough course, and a lot of pros honor it in that way. But personal favorite? Do you have a personal favorite golf course outside of that?
I always rank golf courses in like 8 different categories. Yeah. Best course, best design, purest course, best hang, most special for me. I mean, the most special for me is Pebble Beach. As a kid, I would always qualify for the World Scramble Championship with my dad and my 2 brothers. And we ended up winning that one year at Pebble.
Oh, cool.
So I never forget, my dad made a 60-foot bomb on 18 for Eagle. For us to win by 1.
Wow.
So really
cool
special
moment.
memories at Pebble. And again, that place has got a special place in my heart. I mean, I love Bethpage Black. I think that is one of the best courses in the world. One of the toughest tracks. But again, there's also courses like Hackensack in New Jersey that I love.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun. Piping Rock, so fun. Yale is awesome. Deepdale, my favorite course because there's nobody ever there. You get to play in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Wingfoot West and East. 36 of the best golf holes in the world.
Yeah.
Westchester Country Club, a place I grew up. Got to watch Tiger Woods play at, and then now I'm playing there every day. So many courses that I've played.
Is there one you haven't that you want to?
Yeah, Abandoned Dunes. I want to get out there. I mean, I love courses that have just a magical feel about it, right?
Yep.
Cliffs, beautiful views. I haven't been out to Abandon. I've seen pictures and videos
You'll
of
get
it.
some dope content out there when you're out.
I mean, I think there's also one in New Zealand. There was a Tara Iti.
Yeah.
That place looks amazing.
So Eric Anders did something there, right?
I heard the story is that anyone can play it once.
Is it once?
Have you heard this story?
No, I don't know that story.
All right, so I heard this, and I originally heard it from Eric and from his content, but it was supposedly that they will allow as a guest anyone to play there one time, but then you're never permitted to play again for the rest of your life.
What?
That's what I heard. We're gonna fact check that too.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that is
please
exactly
have me, guys.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So you
More
can
than once.
have a guest, but the guest would never. That you got one and done. One and done.
It looks
guest
really
thing.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long flight to get there for one round, so hopefully maybe 2 or 3 would be great.
Right.
But
Make a trip out
You're
of it.
bouncing all over the world
Yeah.
anyway. You might as well make a stop in New Zealand.
And then Augusta. Played it?
I played Augusta. I got lucky enough to play when I was 14. The story is
14.
pretty cool. It was the day before my final exams for high school, and my dad wakes me up at 6 a.m. He goes, "Wake up!" And I go, "What?" He goes, "We're going to play Augusta." And I thought I was dreaming at this point.
And you're in New York at the moment.
I'm in New York.
Yeah.
I literally have my 5 final exams for high school that day. He goes, "We're going to play Augusta." And I go, "I thought I was dreaming." I go, "I got my final." Say, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Get up, put your golf clothes on. We're going to play Augusta." So I got up, put my golf clothes on, got to the airport. We flew down. We played 27 holes at Augusta National with my hockey teammate and his dad. So I was lucky enough to get invited by my hockey teammate's dad, and we played a little father-son match. And I flew back. I had a bunch of emails from my school
I was going to
saying,
say what happened in the finals.
Where are you? You missed all your finals exams. And I emailed all my professors saying, I got the chance to play Augusta. I'm sorry. Can I come tomorrow and take it? And I think 3 of them responded, "That is the coolest thing ever. Good for you." And the other 2 or 3 responded, "That is unacceptable. Like, who do you think you are?" And my dad was like, "It's okay. You'll be
you're right
fine.
back. Like, it's Augusta. Who do you think you are?
You're a freshman in high
Yeah.
school." I was like, so I got really lucky.
You still made it to Yale.
I made it.
Yeah.
It worked out.
I think you did all right, guys.
It worked out. But
That's
really
funny.
cool. That was a really cool day. That's
awesome.
very
What a great
lucky.
story.
Yeah.
Talk about a drop everything moment.
That is the
Yeah,
ultimate.
that's-
Exactly.
Yeah, Augusta's that drop everything moment. Listen, James, this has been awesome. Appreciate the perspective. Wish you all the best of luck on the journey. So many of us are all rooting you on.
it.
If you're not already following James on social, definitely follow him because it's such a cool insight into your journey. The posts, the stories, everything is stuff that you just don't get anywhere else. And I think that's why you've developed such a loyal fan base around you, is that insight that you were able to provide all of us. So appreciate you doing that even above and beyond here on the podcast today. And I'm looking to get out there on the course with you again and just see what you can do out there because it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, stay tuned. You got a good video coming today, so let's go have a good day.
Let's go film it.
Awesome.